All right. What is going on, IK Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder. We are back again today, and I'd really like to talk about tile farming. This is something that has come up. I've actually seen this conversation talked quite a bit in what we would consider to be peaceful servers or unified servers where they're basically able to just focus 100% on development. And this is something that I want to share my experiences with playing in varied servers and kingdoms that have done tile farming probably almost every which way you can think of. I'm going to talk about some of the pros and cons, and then I'm also going to share how some of the servers do it, along with how we do it in 79. So before we get started, as always, make sure you guys sub, like, ring that notification bell, and of course you can join our Discord to be a part of our conversation. Okay. So let me start off by saying when you are looking at farming tiles in any of these resource zones, the thing to keep in mind above all else is that there is going to be a limited amount. You're not going to have, you only have 9 districts that are in RSS Zone 4, right, which are going to give you the highest level tiles. Along with, they're going to give you the highest level gnomes and then gnome bosses, right? So you can see here, right, I'm seeing, 5, 6, 7, 8 for these tiles. And ideally, if you're trying to get, the highest tiles that you can, there's always going to be a limited amount right as you go up. And that also just kind of coincides with the RSS levels for the zones as well. From this, it is important to, first and foremost, just recognize that there's not going to be a plethora of tiles. Now let me dive into some of the different ways that you can go about organizing something like this. So in some servers, you might have it where they say you can just free-for-all farm tiles, any district, doesn't matter. Other servers may say, well, you can only farm tiles within your alliance's controlled district. That would mean that if my alliance has Britomartis, I cannot then go over to Vigorous Sylvanas and gather tiles there that another alliance occupies. I can only gather in this one. You might have some servers that do a little bit of an in-between, where they'll say, look, you can gather anywhere you want, but you need to always look for tiles on your alliance's territory or controlled district first before going out, right? And there's some modifications, right? Some servers might do some things in between, but for the most part, like, they might say, like, for RSS Zone 4 and Zone 3, gather on your tiles, but 1 and 2, it can be free-for-all, right? That's what I kind of mean by, you can have some varied rules and changes for tile gathering. Now, in my experience, I've been a part of a kingdom that had, 7 to 8 alliances in a kind of final zone, right? If I'm giving a rock example here, you look at, how they have their setup, which is like Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3. Zone 3 probably would be considered RSS Zone 4 if it was a full circle around the Forbidden Zone. That would kind of be, it'd be like Zone 4 and Zone 5, or just Zone 4 and the FZ would kind of be like the Zone 3 area. I've been in a server or kingdom where they've had 7 to 8 alliances at a time in that area, where the only realistic thing you could do is free-for-all farming. Because the territory, based on different game mechanics, right, you're building flags, it's just not realistic to tell everyone that's in that Zone 3 to say, well, you can only gather resource tiles that are on your flag's territory or neutral, but you can't go anywhere else. The reason why that way of doing things is limited and can more often than not cause more problems than actually just providing solutions or an ease of access is because the flag tiles are already limited, and then you can only have so many flags when you're splitting up a confined area within that. Now, in IK, we don't have flags. So in this situation, right, you're actually able to have your own controlled district. Now, what I will say when it comes to searching for tiles. And these are just good practices, and I'm going to give you some examples. So here in Great Vulcan, right, this is where our alliance controls. One of the things I like to do, right, and I'll give you an example here because I think Tish is also, yes. So right now you'll see me here, right, I'm in RSS Zone 4. Let's say I'm going to search for a tile. So better yet, let me search for a tile that is not directly here. Okay, so this says, I try searching for a logging camp, nothing comes up. What do? Are logging camps just gone? No, they're not. What I like to do is I like to zoom out a little bit, right, to max. I'll click again. If I don't get anything, I'll just go up like this, and then bam, there's one. If I don't see anything here, I'll just move over 20 to 30 kilometers, do it again, right? Okay, now let's say I don't get a stone. Okay, I got lucky. There was a stone. Let me do iron. I got lucky. There was an iron. But let's say there wasn't one. What do? I'll just do a little quick scroll, search iron. Oh, cool, I found one. Okay, let's do stone now. I'll just go a little farther. I'll do stone. So the important thing here is do this throughout the entire area. That is your RSS zone, or your controlled district zone, right? And do it throughout that entire district before you go out into another district, right? And again, this is just the example because how we do it in 79 is kind of that middle point I mentioned. So we tell our players, look, you can free-for-all gather wherever you want, but you need to make a due diligent effort to gather from your controlled district first. And that means you need to search around your district, right, for the resource tiles that you're looking to gather, and then, and only then, if there are no tiles for that specific resource you need, then you can go to an adjacent RSS Zone 4 or controlled district for the tile that you're looking for, right? When you do it like this, my opinion is that it minimizes the amount of people that are just free-for-all gathering. You also allow your players in your controlled district to take advantage, first and foremost, of those controlled, of those district-owned or alliance-owned tiles that you are able to gather from, right? You can see here that, let me see if I can find an 8 real quick. So at an 8, you could see that I have a 672k an hour gathering speed, right, which is the base gathering speed rate, but I'm missing out on 200k, right? That's almost a third of additional gathering speed that I'm missing out on just because I'm not gathering from a controlled district. Now, again, this isn't to overhint and say, oh, how dare we, right, gather from someone else's district. It all depends on how your server has set this up, and if you've even clarified it, or if you've even explained this to people, right? In 79, I think we do a fantastic job of sending out informative and educational server mails. And I'll give you an example of some of the tile gathering ones. Let me see here. Sorry, Embla has sent out a bunch. Here we go. So we have 2 mails we sent out on gathering tiles, and we like, every time we get king, we have a certain amount of reiteration mails, we like to call them, where we will just provide friendly reminders to people in the kingdom, because once migration opens, you don't know how many people are coming in between the time that your kingship ends and then you get king again, in addition to when people can come in at all, right? So we like every time, whether it's kind of every 2 weeks or so, we will resend certain mails out as friendly reminders. Now, one of the things you'll see here is gathering tiles. We say, in short, there are no rules here because putting any in place may cause more harm than good. Simply put, we recommend players farming their alliance district tiles first before going out to other district. There are limited tiles everywhere, and we should not be picky. The next one is finishing gathering tiles, right? We just like to send this as a professional courtesy and good decorum. Players should always finish tiles they start to gather, as new tiles spawn faster if they are completely gathered, rather than waiting for the timer to end. Be a good neighbor and clean up after yourself, right? I think these are 2 great, simplistic mails that tell everyone this is what it is, and this is what we recommend, right? And how just to be, right, a good player, right, a good eater in your kingdom or in your server. Now, again, as I said, and as always, keeping in mind, not every server is going to be managed the same. Not every server is going to have the same rules. This is just a general guideline video on how different servers can operate, giving you an example of the pros and cons, along with how our server, or this server, operates in 79 and how we do things. And again, it's just up to you, right, for if you're the managing group or if you're the lead in your server on what you want to do. Right? I personally believe I like doing it this way for the reasons we listed, or I listed, in addition to, again, knowing that not every server is going to be ran this way, and it doesn't mean that this is the best way to do it. This is just the way that we like to run it best, or run it most, I should say. But let me know what you have experienced, right? If you're in a server that has a different farming or a tile farming rule, and maybe you have found success with that as well, let me know in the comments down below. What server are you from? What is your farming rule and policy that's in place? And then what are the pros and cons? Have you found that it has been working well for your server? I'd love to hear that down there below. Share your thoughts. Let me in to your life. That is it for us today. As always, I hope y'all enjoy. I am out. Until next time, we will catch y'all later.